Hello, mamas, and welcome to the Mamas Club podcast, where we are all just another mama trying to make waves and survive out here. Join me, your host, Sarah, and mamas everywhere on our journeys into this episode and this little thing called life, motherhood, and everything else. Remember, you are not the only mama, and yes, this shit really does happen, and to the best of us. We mamas really should stick together, so let's navigate motherhood and being women together. So for today's podcast, we are going to be talking about a little bit of a sensitive subject for some people. Maybe it's a little bit political, but not really. But I feel it's relevant to motherhood today. And I also feel like this has been an issue of mine in the past. So I kind of just wanted to share because I'm pretty sure other mothers out there are struggling with the same thing. So today's topic is feminism killing motherhood? Now, let me first start off by saying I am not opposed to feminism. I am actually all for women's rights and equality in pay, etc. However, I will say this. I will never admit as a woman that I can or want to do everything a man can do. Let me explain. I have no desire to join the military, deliver for UPS, FedEx, do any of those things which require heavy lifting, hard manual labor, or very tough working conditions like in construction sites, for example. And for some women, this may be their jam or a cup of tea, but it's not mine. And that's fine. Not everyone has the same wants, desires, dreams, jobs, careers, etc. And that's okay. We all get to choose what we can or want to do. And putting pressure on others who disagree or wouldn't want to do the same thing as others is not right. And that's where I feel like the issue is coming into motherhood and affecting us as mamas. That being said, and in considering myself a feminist, I do appreciate men and what they do as well. Has anyone else noticed that in recent years, feminism has, in a sense, went kind of off the deep end or became very extreme, as has other political topics? That is, maybe has left you questioning if you're an actual feminist or even if feminism is in fact and just maybe killing motherhood altogether? Because I have asked this question so many times. Hear me out. This sounds crazy, but we can still be feminists and not hate men. We can still be feminists and appreciate the fact that men and women are different in a lot of areas for obvious reasons. But we should also look at and think about the pressure of feminism from society that's placed on young girls. It's becoming a bit toxic, in my opinion. Speaking from my experiences, it's like ingrained in girls' minds that they have to have a career, etc., and that if they don't, then they are worthless in a sense. There are some instances where women want to work, have a career, and a family, or where they obviously just plain have to because they are a single parent or both parents need to work to survive, which is necessary and understandable. But society and our culture places so much stress, expectations, and judgments onto women. In one sentence, they say, if you're a working mom, you're a horrible person who doesn't take care of your family properly. And then in another, it's, if you are a stay-at-home mom, you're basically a good-for-nothing loser who doesn't really work at all. So in other words, it's all or nothing, basically, to the extreme. There's no middle ground or basic appreciation given by society in either situation. Being a homemaker is regarded as not actual work, although all of us mamas know it's the single hardest job we have had and will ever have. I myself have butted heads with my husband in our early years together, in our 20s, because we were both so brainwashed by society's expectations and rules in regards to working, money, roles, etc. It was a nightmare. It's always best to have open communication and talk about each other's thoughts and expectations of one another in certain roles and those kind of things. We don't always have to conform to what society says we should or shouldn't do. Like all our parents would say, when you would get caught doing something stupid or saying we were going to do something stupid, if everyone jumped off a bridge, would you do it too? I sure wouldn't, but that's the beauty of being different from one another. What's good or acceptable to one is not necessarily good or acceptable to another, and that's okay and perfectly normal. But society has this extremism placed upon every aspect of our lives now, especially since COVID. I have noticed this, and I feel like it's been getting worse, where if you're not all in on one topic or area, then you're out. It's absolute craziness. Absolute craziness. This pressure creates so much stress and issues on ourselves and in our relationships, and it's really, really unnecessary. I myself have a college degree in criminal justice administration. I worked as a registered dental assistant for many, many years, and now me and my husband own our own business, and he is primarily at our business face-to-face with customers and doing the physical aspects, of the business, while I'm at home taking care of the kids, doing bookkeeping, sending invoices, emails, etc., kind of like behind the scenes things for the business. And however, when my husband first started the business, I was still working outside the home and taking care of the home and helping on the sidelines with the business, and it was draining and overwhelming. At this point, I still needed to work because we did not make enough money for me not to. But as a couple years went on, we started making more money to where I didn't really need to work outside the home necessarily. But then there were a lot of emotions around the topic of being a stay-at-home mom for me that caused so much unnecessary stress. I felt like I had to keep working to pay my student loans, my credit card bills, that I felt were mine, although they were used for the family, not just me. And I felt guilt and had some resentment toward my husband around the issue of working and money, which was honestly exhausting and damaging to my mental and physical health, as well as to my relationship with my husband. It was all stemming from pressure and beliefs that society taught and placed upon me regarding these issues of being a working mother and woman. What a waste of time and energy. Had I just realized this sooner or heard someone talking about these issues sooner, I could have saved myself years of frustration, stress, anxiety, and everything else. My oldest son, who actually just graduated high school, had a teacher that was one of the worst teachers I had heard of, besides, teachers who are pedophiles. But this teacher in particular made my blood boil. My son would come home and tell me things he would say and teach, and I thought to myself, OMG, this teacher is tearing apart the family model and basically is telling and brainwashing young girls and boys by telling them, if you decide to become a stay-at-home mom, or that stay-at-home moms in general are worthless and have no brain. So basically, it started out as the teacher showing a picture of a woman opening a refrigerator. Probably, I think it was like the 50s and 60s era. And then he stated, look at this woman. She has no thoughts. She's a robot. And he went on to say a few more degrading things towards a woman being in the kitchen and staying home. And I'm like, really? It's these types of people and monsters who are destroying the beauty of motherhood and being a stay-at-home mom. And family structures, period. You can imagine how irritated I was and how I would have loved to give that teacher a piece of my mind and show him he's absolutely wrong and tell the young girls in his class and young boys he was a psychotic fraud trying to tear down families and ruin lives. But I was well aware that that type of person would have just picked on my son for the remainder of the year and would have made my son's days at school a living nightmare. So I forever held my peace, and luckily my son is not so easily convinced of such nonsense. Reality is, it takes us time to realize and think about these issues in more detail and say society is not my main priority. You don't have to follow the crowd, aka cool kid, and that, in fact, following your own beliefs and wants for your life and family is okay. We have free will to do and be whatever and whoever we want to be. So don't get sucked into the lies they try to feed you and morph into you. And let your children be aware that they are trying to do that every day. I think now that I know this and have actually accepted this, a giant weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I rely on my husband to be the breadwinner of the family and take care of the physical labor aspects of our daily business, just as much as he relies on me to do the home stuff, take care of the kids, and the behind the scenes business stuff. And that's okay. This does not make me a brain dead, no thought robot who's useless and doesn't actually work. It makes me a strong, intelligent, useful, helpful mother and wife, which is the hardest, most rewarding job and career I could ever have. Mamas, don't ever let anyone tell you or your daughters otherwise. So again, while feminism is great, I believe modern feminism is extreme and ruining families and motherhood. I'm not saying that all women should work and should not work and be stay-at-home moms. I'm just saying that society is brainwashing our young children to think that if you're not a working mother, you're a failure, and that if you are a working mother, you're a failure. It's complete hypocrisy and BS that makes absolutely no sense and just causes and creates stress and anxiety. Like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So listen to your heart and desires and what you feel is best for you and your family, and F everything else. It's different strokes for different folks, and condemning for either choice is ridiculous. Just live and let live. Just remember, do whatever is best for you and your family. Don't listen to nobody else, but be aware that they're trying to slip in little things here and there, brainwashing us. It worked on me as a young woman. I literally felt like I had to have a career and be working and be a mother and do all these things, which nowadays is almost the truth because we can't afford it. But in some instances, we don't have to do that. We don't. But they make you feel like you do, and then they make you feel like crap if you don't, but then make you feel like crap if you are a working mother. So it's just stupidity. Anywho's, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know in the comments down below if you have experienced any of this, if you have or are experiencing this, where you feel just so much pressure and stress and confusion from society or even friends, family over the same issue. If you feel like you're being affected by being a mother, a working mother, or either one separately, and if feminism is kind of taking over everything and, in a sense, ruining motherhood, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And I will see you all in the next one. And remember, you are not the only mama. And yes, this shit really does happen, and to the best of us. Bye.